Cuckoo. He's weird. Forget it.
I'm talking to you, sister.
Okay. What it was all about was as you came in, I was out to blow her head off, rape her dead body, and prepare for the invasion, in her blood on the grill, and you came in, so I didn't.
What invasion?
Bums from deep space.
Bums from deep space?
Bums from deep space. See, basically, this entire galaxy is filled entirely with bums like me, and we need more room, so we're thinking of invading this neighborhood. It's got nice doorways and alleys.
Very funny. Get over there. What's your name?
Sometimes Jones.
Welcome to another episode of the Law Offices of Quibble, Squabble, and Bicker on this September 21st, 2022. We're very, very happy to welcome back Larry Hankin, who's our first celebrity guest about a year and a half ago.
Oh, wow.
Yes, you were our very first one, way back when.
Would I be dickish to say our best guest?
Well, that's
go right ahead. I think it's okay.
You're allowed to have your opinion, Greg, and if that's how you feel, then you should say it.
I love every other guest we've had, but Larry, he was the gold star. He was the Cadillac of guests.
Whereas you are the Pontiac of co-hosts.
I was the fucking gremlin blowing up.
Wow, the Pontiac of guests. I like it.
Pontiac's a pretty decent car. I'm more like an AMC Pacer.
Okay. Well, have you guys...
Our client for today, as we'll get to later, is Sitcoms on Trial.
Behold, trapped in a hellscape of their own invention, socially unaware old white men bound by the pretense of being fake lawyers yet knowing no law, no exquisite Latin terminology, they are inexplicably compelled to quibble over minutia, squabble over triflings, and bicker like those who value their backyards far too highly without even knowing the difference between an easement and an alleyway. At this very moment, you have entered the heart of the Law Offices of Quibble, Squabble, and Bicker. Let's get started.
Disco Jihad, the best Muslim disco songs ever released on one compilation. Heaven must be missing a virgin, must be missing a virgin child, 'cause you're here with me right now. Oh, I love the my life. I got to boogie on the disco jihad. Oh yeah. Burn, baby, burn. Disco Intifada, burn, baby, burn, burn our mother down. That's the way, I likes it, That's the way, I likes it, Pretty life, pretty life, pretty life, pretty life. Got to give it up for Ramadan. Got to give it up for Ramadan. More than a Muslim. Ooh, more than a Muslim to me.
That's one of my favorites.
Working my way back to Mecca with a burning love inside. I'll be working my way back to Mecca. Do up the wow. He's the greatest mullah. Do up the wow I have ever seen. I like to feel. So order now, not available in stores, only on this TV offer, K-Tel Records, Disco Jihad. Buy it now.
I just like how you committed so strongly to these songs,
man,
Greg.
That was...
I'm sorry, Larry.
That was hard. That was really hard.
That was a hard road to take.
I think we're all going to have like...
But the commitment was there. I mean, you got to give him props, man.
Yeah.
What was that all about? I mean, I'm new here.
I don't know. It was
well, we have fake sponsors every show, and so
that was a sponsor.
The sponsor for
that
the
was
show.
I see. Well, it went over with me just about like any other sponsor would. That's you matched blow for blow. You matched regular TV.
I forgot to put it in Boogie Ramadan, but we don't need to hear that.
Okay, and where do I buy that? How do I send away from it?
It's only
what was he
available
selling?
through mail. It's not available in any stores. K-Tel Records.
Oh, okay.
Disco Jihad.
We send you the song on a floppy disk.
Yeah.
Little square one?
Yeah,
wow.
those ones.
Little
Are
plastic.
there any more commercials on this this show?
Joe. thank God.
Not really.
Not in the rest of the show. We do have a
Oh,
cooking
okay,
segment,
cool.
and then we have a fake legal advice segment later on as well.
Oh, okay,
not
no,
fake.
that's fine. No, if I made it through that, I can handle
Yeah.
anything.
It's not fake. I
Cool.
give good legal advice, I got to say. For
Oh,
for
yes.
ladies.
No.
It's
No, but listen, that was great. Now, this is a man who gave me my book a good review, so that was
He did.
great. What you did was great, Greg, and I'd
Okay.
like to hear a lot more.
Now
Yeah,
the fact
speaking
is
of
that
interviews-
Larry sent me the book, and
it's
I read the
autographed
first
now,
couple of
look.
chapters, but
Or
then
Matt, autographed.
Oh, right.
Greg
Rock
and
on.
Brendan and we went out for Greg's birthday last week, and so for his birthday, I lent him the book so he could read it for this show.
And I'm never
So,
returning it.
I didn't have the opportunity to read the
Fine.
whole thing, but I did read 2 chapters involving Sometimes Jones, and I skimmed through the rest of it before I gave it to Greg. So at least
Matt, I
I
already
got to read it.
Okay.
scratched out your name. It says for Greg now. I
Did you
scratched
put it?
out.
Did you do it with like your hand gripping a Sharpie and just like? With,
Yeah, it's mine now. You're never getting this book back. But I gotta say, I want to say, Larry, I don't think anyone, because this is a self-published book. There's no
Yeah.
publisher. You like did the Amazon, whatever.
Yeah.
I don't think any self-published book has got rave reviews from San Francisco Chronicle, SF Examiner, LA Times, LA Weekly, George Carlin, Paul Reiser. Usually the reviews in self-published books are like something.org, some shitty website or something. You
Right.
have like stellar reviews, like that even a published book by like a major publisher would be
Well,
calling.
okay, no, I got a what is it? Full disclosure? Yeah, full disclosure.
You made
I
them
can
up?
Explain that. No, they're real, but they were mainly like in that book. It's like short stories. So there's like 8. There's 10. I counted them. There's like 10 stories. Those are reviews of about of 8 of them. In other words, they didn't read the book. They just read separate stories. I gave them like a manuscript or something.
Right.
Like
But
right,
at the
right.
time, there was only 8 stories, so they reviewed that. So, but they never read the book. So that would be the full disclosure. Is
Yeah.
that? So
I
there's
do,
2
I
more
do want
stories.
to. I do want to give Larry a lot more credit than we gave him in the beginning, stating that his claim to fame is having been one of our first guests, because he's done so much more than having been on our show.
Oh,
So
really?
To
So
list
much
things
more than
off.
that, Matt?
Some people don't know who he is, Greg, and it's
I
A lot of
it's
people. A lot of
unfair
people.
of us to not give a list. So I'm going to make a quick list. So
Oh, no.
he was in
Okay.
Breaking Bad. He was in the show Baskets. He was in the TV show Barry. He was in Adam Ruins Everything. He was in Vegas. He was.
So there's only like
Spanish.
3. There's only like 3 that count. Breaking
was in-
Bad, Friends, and Seinfeld.
You were in CSI. You were
Home
also
Alone. And okay, the 4, Home Alone. And Escape from Alcatraz, 5. Okay.
and the Sarah
That-
Silverman
that's it.
program, and Joan of Arcadia, and Monk,
I wanna-
and
I wanna
Malcolm in the
talk-
Middle, and Walker,
it.
Texas Ranger, ER. I mean, just so many. But I think his
trying to-
highlight is the highlight of your career, though, is the fact that you did do Gandalf Street Magic for College Humor.
Oh, that's a good one.
His name is Gandalf.
Excuse me, can I show you something?
Depends on what it is, man.
I'd like you to take these 2 coins, and I'd like you to place them in your hand. Then I'd like you to squeeze your hand very tight.
What's this clown up to, Mr. Frodo?
And now open your hand.
What?
Where did the second coin go?
Just relax and smoke your pipe.
Don't do it. Oh my
Wow.
gosh! I don't believe it, Mr. Frodo!
That is incredible. That's gonna drive me nuts.
How did he make the second?
That was good.
That's a good one. I like that one. Gandalf, Randolph, whatever.
Go and look
whatever
that
it was. Yeah, I liked it so much that I went and I wrote my own. I guess it was a film short. It's 20. I wrote a film short and made it. I played Randolph, his brother. I played his brother, Randolph. Yeah, but it inspired me. That film short, made by another guy. I can't remember his name now. It was a long time ago. But yeah, that was a good one.
Yeah.
But it was a homemade one.
You were
was
very
on the
creepy
show.
in that. You were incredibly creepy.
as Gandalf or Randolph. I don't remember exactly the name I had. It must have been Gandalf.
No, it was Gandalf because it was Gandalf Street Magic was the title, and they said, and at some point you're doing a magic trick
something
for
magic.
orcs.
Something Magic was the name of the show.
Oh,
It
that's
wasn't
a
even a
different-
show.
that's a
It was just
different
one guy.
thing.
But he's like a big director now. That guy. He's
Oh.
a big director. Oh yeah. When he was just starting out, that was when we were both just starting out when I did that. That was just like a homegrown thing.
Well, you weren't just starting out when you did Gandalf Street Magic, because that was just the last 10 years.
He was not starting out the director.
Well, maybe I don't know. I mean, there's 3 tiers of things I did, even 4 or 5. I don't know. I just was on the stage. Sometimes I would do a movie for a friend, and it would turn out to be just a film short that he wanted to do to get a job. So he wanted to be a director. So he just made his own film and then showed that and said, "Let me direct your thing." So there's that, and then there's the cheap movies, like $10,000, shot in a week.
Was that like the Independent? I actually saw that.
Well, it's less than an Independent. It's just shot up in San Francisco in the Valley. They were like porno movies, but I wasn't a porno thing. I was just like comedy sidebar. But let me tell you something I learned.
I was so ready to Google.
Yeah, nobody. Well, you can. You can. I wonder if anything would come up, because I don't even think I got credit. Probably I did. I was in the committee then. But I was just
wasn't there a movie called Larry Hankin's Penis?
Well, it was yeah, I think so. I can't remember the title though. I know.
I think Greg told me about that.
You've done so many things you can't even remember.
Well, no, but I never got naked. I was never the porn part of it. So that's what I learned, is that people do not go to porn movies for laughs. Because everything I did that was funny, because I went to see the premiere, and they were just waiting for people to get naked and start doing it. That was, and then until then there was no reaction at all from anything. It was just narrative, fucking. Oh, great. Okay. Narrative. What's the funny guy doing in this? Narrative, fucking. Okay. It was just that kind of reaction,
What year was this, Larry? Is this the 70s?
I don't remember that. I remember doing that movie that he's talking about where I played Gandalf.
Because that was a thing.
And then the porny movies was when I was in the committee, which was on stage.
Yeah.
So that was my gig. But then all the porn stars would come to see the show just like an audience. They laughed. They said, "Hey, that's funny. We're doing a movie. You want to be in it? You can be funny in it." Yeah. I said, "Well, okay, if you pay me, yeah, sure." So they said, "Okay." And then, we're doing it in a week or, 2 weeks. And then I would get like $100 or $200. And I'd come in. The best one, the weirdest one, which I want to see. I've never seen it, but it was a wife swapping movie, porno movie. So the premise, I said, "Well, what do you want me in it? What do I do? I don't get naked. I don't do that thing, but I'll be funny in it. I'll try to be funny." So he said, "Well, what we have is it's all done because they're very cheap movies where they were only done in one house." Right? It was always a knock on the door. Then either the guy comes in and screws the lady, or the lady comes in and screws the guy. But it was one set. So this was in somebody's house, and it was a wife swapping movie, and everybody was wife swapping or girlfriend swap, couples swapping. So I said, "Well, what do you want me to do?" He said, "Well, the premise of the movie, the whole premise of the movie is that the San Francisco Chronicle newspaper is going to do a big expose of wife swapping in San Francisco," which did go on, I guess. Yeah. So wife swapping in San Francisco. So we're going to base our movie on it. So you're a reporter from the Chronicle who's coming in to interview the wife swappers, the couple swappers, the man and wife swap. So you just come in and you just interview. That's your thing. And then we cut to them, the couple swapping and fucking. And so that's the pornographic part of it.
Did you
just come and interview them?
Did you improv, or was the funny stuff in the script?
No, it's just improv. And then when I got there, they said, just one day it'll be like a half hour, 2 hours. You come in, interview the people. So I showed up at the house, and then I went inside. and everybody's fucking. Everybody. I mean, they had started the movie already. They were filming. So I said to the director, well, like they already started. He says, no. You interview them while they're fucking. Oh, really? Oh, okay. I can do that because I had a suit on. I had a jacket and a tie. I was a reporter. So I come in. So I just went and said, and then they followed me with a camera. They had one camera filming the couples doing the beast with two backs, and one camera following me around to the couples. And I said, hey, can I talk to you for a second? Yeah. So who are you fucking your wife, or who did you swap with? No, my wife is over there, and this is her boyfriend is over there. So I'll go to them next. And I would just go around, and there was like 8 couples in this living room, and there was a couple in the kitchen, or 2 couples in the kitchen. But the director said, okay, we got enough. Okay, thanks, Larry. And I said, it's great. And I gave him back his pencil and his pad where I was making notes on it. The prop guy gave me that. And I split, and that was it. And I wanted to see the movie. And now I want to see my scene, that scene of me interviewing couples fucking on my gravestone of a little television set in the tombstone. And that plays just in a loop. Here lies Larry Hankin, and you just see me interviewing people, doing the deed.
Was that filmed on 16 millimeter or Super 8 or what was it?
I'm sure it was 16 millimeter. It was before digital. It was, so it's got to be in the 60s, the late 60s probably. So I mean, that's the kind of movies I was making. I mean, you were an actor. You just go in. I mean, I never did anything. They tried to do it once, but I didn't even want to. I mean, it was not, some beautiful woman or something. It was just somebody they were doing it for the money. And I just, I said, nah, because I knew even then, even before digital, once you do it, it's out there. It never stops. It'll be forever. And I thought, nah, why? I'll give me $100 because I think for 150, you would get to do the deed. I said, for $50, nah, thank you. I'm good. Thank you. Yeah. I'm good.
Did it ever stop you from getting a role in serious film? Like, I know that there was never crossover between porn actors and real actors.
Because
they would ever say, hey, you did a porn, you can't do this.
Yeah. But so that was another reason that entered my mind. Why get naked? It might come back to haunt me. I want to be an actor. I want to be, and people don't hire you. I never knew why. It wouldn't bother me. I mean, if the guy's right for the part or the woman's right for the part, you hire them. They don't have to get naked in this film. They were naked 10 years ago. Who cares? Well, people do. Go.
I think it's more than just being naked, though. I mean, there's protrusions.
Well, yeah, but then I was in a soft core movie. So what they do is, and again, I was not naked. I was a guy in a suit. I was a psychiatrist.
Oh, it was soft core. I thought it was hardcore.
It was soft. No, this was hardcore. But I've done soft core. And what they do is, if the movie doesn't make enough money as what they wanted to release it as, hardcore or softcore, but if it doesn't make the guys who gave the money in to make money on it, the investors, doesn't make its money back. What they do is they sell it to a second party. And what the second party does is, since they now own it outright, they pay, like $5,000 or $10,000 or, pay off the investors. What they do is they just film inserts of people fucking, and then they insert it into your movie. So now the softcore becomes a hardcore. Instead of cutting away, they just put in an insertion shot.
So your movie is probably in peep shows all over the world.
Oh yeah, I get fan mails from people in China saying, "Hey, I just saw you in China Woman." I go, "Oh right, that was the 4th sale." In other words, they kept on cutting it. They kept cutting it closer and closer from a porn movie, from a softcore movie to a hardcore movie. It kept on inserting things just a little closer because the line is no insertion. Insertion. That's the line.
Insertion. It's all about the
insertion. So you could have him. Sometimes they would just cut in a naked guy or a naked woman, full frontal. But there was no insertion, see? So it was still soft core, but you could sell tickets. But then, you get closer and closer, and then, then it's insertion. Oh, okay. Well, hardcore, we might as well go full core. And then you start hiring people to fuck and suck and whatever. And now you got hardcore, but you get more. So China Woman was the fourth sale of some movie that I had made where there was softcore, hard. I don't even remember what it was before, but I know that several of the movies I made back in San Francisco for, $100 to be funny in it, I would get people saying, were you ever in blah, blah, blah? And then I would look it up and I'd say, well, that's the second iteration from that. And sometimes the hardcore was made harder. In other words, there was insertion, but they still weren't selling tickets. So they sold it to like a third or fourth generation. And they added genitals and insertion and really weird stuff with dogs.
I'm going to look you up on Pornhub.
Mules and
I bet you're on Pornhub now. I want to go to Pornhub and look up your name.
Well, waste the time. Because I'm not naked. I'm just, and it's stupid stuff. I mean, I've gone to the, what do you call it? The premieres, the
premieres.
The people who made the movie, they go to, they get in a bunch. The crew, the camera people, the actors and actors.
Very prestigious.
Well, we got off on a very interesting foot today. I think we want to get back to the real reason he came on the show, which was you had a book you wanted to promote. That you
I did that.
What
We did about my career. We talked about the book. We talked about my career. Now let's talk about something else now.
Well, it's like a new book. You have a new book coming out, right?
Oh, that guy. Well, that guy's not, that's not ready to come out. I'm looking for a publisher. If you're a publisher, give me a call.
Larry, can I indulge you? I want to know about what was it like starting the committee? The committee, I love that. It posts the SCTV offshoot.
It was improv. The only way I got to use the improv that I learned, which I learned with, like who's the guy from, Viola Spolin is who I studied with. So she's classic. She's like the classic from the natural actors, from Russia, that guy. He invented,
like Strasberg or
Lee Strasberg. Yeah. And then before him, that guy. But she's from that line. Okay. So I studied with her. So I'm like a classic improviser. Like I studied at RADA for improv. So when I did Breaking Bad and I did Old Joe.
Was manufacturing the drug.
Go for Joe.
Police are now on the hunt for Pinkman, urging the community to remain vigilant.
Yeah, I know this is. At this point, who doesn't?
They gave me, right before I went on camera, they gave me a full essay, a speech, a long speech that I couldn't memorize. I get dyslexia, I can't, I need like a week to memorize a full page. And they say, how long do I have it? 2 hours. So I improvised it and they bought it, So that's how I plugged it in. I'm looking for always, where do I use this for the next thing? I'm always looking for the next thing. I'm not.
Well, it seems like that's what could work in your favor if you don't have to fully memorize something and you can rely on your smarts and your intellect.
Well, you got to
improvise. You come off a little more natural that way.
Well, if you can pull it off and if they buy it, but sometimes they just get. I've had people say, "No, what are you doing? You say it like it's written." And they just. They have suits come down. No, it's not as easy as you'd think. It's a job, man.
Yeah.
It's not art. It's a job. You just got to know how to do the job. Can you dig a ditch right? There's a difference between a pipe ditch and a coffin ditch.
I would argue
the difference.
You can do that, though.
And which is which and how deep, so that's what I found out. I hate to, because there are geniuses working in Hollywood, but they're few and far between. And the rest, it's a job, man. That's why I don't understand fans. I don't understand the glamour. I was there. I was on the set. I was photographed. I was in movies. I was in TV. There was no glamour at all. Not to me, anyway. Even with hey, sign this. Why are you? What are you going to do with this?
Yeah, what's the point?
What? I don't. Okay, here. Wow. I just don't get it. So that's again.
So you don't get starstruck by anybody. There's like nobody that impresses you in the business.
It's a job. What I like to do is empty my head. That's what I like to do. And
empty your head.
Empty my head. If you can let me if I can improvise a long speech for Vince Gilligan, hey man, that gets me off. I don't care how much money or how famous or where the thing goes. I mean, he bought it,
Right.
And I couldn't do what he wanted me to do. I mean, that registered on him. He bought it, but he doesn't give me long speeches anymore.
Well, it's nice to know that he knew you were in the committee, like legendary comedy improv troupe, and this guy can do this. No,
he gave me the speech.
I know, but improv.
He didn't think I was going to improvise it. He gave me the speech and walked away.
But
he went to the production. I asked for him. I said, look, I can't memorize this. I want to talk to Vince Gilligan.
Right.
They said, he's not here. I said, okay. And then I said, all right, I'm shutting up. Because now I'm going to just get lectures and I'm going to be fired. So I fired myself before I improvised it. I said, I'm fired. I can't do this. And then I went and they said, are you ready to do this? And I said, yeah. Because I was now ready because I was going to improvise it. I was fired. I'm going to do it. I can improvise. There's a long speech about keeping the cop out of the Winnebago. It was all law stuff. Keep the cop out of it because Brian and Aaron were in there. So I was the old Joe, So that whole speech, I said blah 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 blah, and the director bought it. He goes, and he knew because the director wrote the speech that they gave me.
Oh, wow!
I didn't know that. I thought Vince had written it, but no, Vince had told the director, write this for Larry. He's cool, So he wrote the speech, and then he's directing me, and I said, I want to talk to Vince. He said, Vince is not here. I said, all right, I'll to myself.
Because you thought he had written it, right?
I thought Vince had written it, yeah. Right. So I thought, he doesn't know. So the guy says, you ready to do this? And I said, yeah, because we had worked in the morning, and I had memorized the scene with Brian. That was fine, Brian liked it. So he said, are you ready to do this? I said, yeah, sure. That's okay. So he goes, blah, 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 blah. And I said, well, at the end of the speech, this improvisation that I did, I said, I wanted to do it in sections. He said, no, we're going to do it one shot, walk and talk. We'll do it in one shot. You get in the car and you go home and you're out of here in a half hour. I go, okay, let's do it. And I improvised. I get to the end, and I thought, now he's going to say I'm fired. And I just braced for that. And he goes, oh, let's do this once more. We got it in the can. Let's just do it once more just for insurance. Okay, I can do that. I knew I couldn't do it again. I just had to remember, don't stutter, keep talking, and it's about the law. That's all. Keep them out of there. That's it. And I said, okay, but it's not going to be the same. But I only said that to me. And I said, but that's okay. Just don't stutter. Keep talking. So I just and then he goes,
"What episode?"
Then I'm fired.
What episode was that?
The third. It was the first year, I think, or the third year. I don't know. I don't remember. I don't keep track. Podcasters keep track.
I'm a terrible podcaster. Anyway,
they don't. They say, hey, in the third round, you did that. I did. Okay, fine. Let's talk about it.
Anyway,
so you've been. So go ahead, Brendan.
I was going to say I'll find it and I'll put it as a comment to the YouTube thing in case anyone wants to find it and see it because I kind of remember it. I kind of remember that whole scene, but
right. Well, the thing was when I got to the end. And they had the car parked there. They were ready to go, Hey, we'll do it in a half hour, one take, and boom, and he's back because we were in the middle of a desert. It took 45 minutes to get to the production. So, and at the second take, he goes, okay, we got it then. Thank you, Larry. And I thought, what? He goes, I figured I'd do like 7, 8, 9 takes, and we could. He goes, no, and I got in the car, and when I watched it, what they did, I asked the lady, I said, the script girl, I said, did Vince write this? And she said, no, the director wrote it. I said, him? He wrote it? She said, yeah. And I go, as I'm driving back in the car, I go, holy cow, he knew the entire time. So he knew. He knew this guy doesn't know his ass from his elbow, man. He's just making it up. But what they did was when they got it back, they edit it together as a voiceover, and I just appear every once in a while when I said something that, you know, matched the character, the action, and what I was supposed to say, you know, because I had seen the script, so I was pulling the stuff from, you know, everything I ever read and what I, you know, blah, blah, blah. So they just put it together, and Vince said, fine, you know, don't call, because generally sometimes they'll call you in to do a voiceover. You know, that just have I've done that, where it was sometimes a word or two or a speech is garbled. They don't hear it right. So they call you in and you mimic your voice. They show a picture of you talking, no sound. And you have to say the words exactly like they're showing on the screen.
Right.
Yeah, and you have to match it. And I can do, lip syncing, and I can do that great. Okay. I'm a great lip syncer. I worked in the business for a long time just doing lip syncing. So they always loved it. You know, oh, well, we'll get Larry in. He can do that, you know.
Do you do a lot of Japanese? Do you do a lot of Japanese cartoons that you have to lip sync?
Kung Fu movies.
Oh, I graduated from there. It's not fun. Nothing is fun. The only ones that are fun are the recording ones where you can go in. So there has to be a stand-up comedian. So I could just get on the stage in my street clothes and start talking. I never wrote anything down. I just kind of made it up and remembered it. I improvised it. I told about my day. I talked about my day. So, you know, that was it. So anytime I had to get on stage and put on a costume or drive to the valley to get, you know, measurements, or, you know, it's a job. I said, oh, I get it. They pay a lot of money because it's not art. It's a job. That's why you get money. I get it. But by then I was hooked. You know, I had an apartment I had to pay for, you know, and you just can't walk around saying, hey, give me money for my apartment. There's a reason they give you a lot of money. It's not because they love you. It's because they have mortgages to pay.
Yes.
You know.
And the mortgage is for everybody who works on the set.
Is helping pay their mortgage. So
now you mentioned there are geniuses. There are geniuses rather far between. Which are the geniuses that you liked working with, and which are the geniuses that you didn't like working with?
John Huston.
For both?
Genius. John Huston.
Yeah.
Genius.
Yeah, you told us the story. What was the dog catcher story? I think with when you were with John Huston.
Yeah, there was other ones. Well, I don't know, you know, because it's a historic. See, John Huston's been around long enough. It's history, you know. You can't, you know. Learning pop music, everybody's a genius, you know. No, that's not true. Everybody in Hollywood wants to be a genius, and they want you to treat them like they were a genius. But there's very few who are a genius. Probably Musk is a genius, but I can't work with him.
Who?
You know, Musk. Elon Musk. He's probably a genius. I don't know. History will tell, you know. Leonardo, Picasso. I mean, these are people, you know, who you can throw around the word, you know. But
Larry Hankin. Author, genius.
Yeah.
But when you were at the committee,
you and my mom.
When you were working improv with the committee, did you feel like you weren't like, this is just a job?
No, man. Hey, here's the truth. The truth is that when I was on the stage, and me and Hamilton Kemp, we had a little set piece that we did, an improv. I mean, it was never the same. We would take two characters and do an improv based on another word that they gave us. And but it was always us that did that particular improv. And we did it for months, and we would bring down the house. It was the funniest thing ever. Probably I'll never be that funny again, and with him, you know. So I always came off the stage thinking, what the fuck were they laughing at? I wasn't going for jokes, and neither was Hamilton. And neither was the scene. We were doing the scene according to Viola Spolin, RADA, the RADA of improv. And it would bring the house down. And I always wondered, and I never came off the stage saying, man, fuck you. No. It was always, what am I doing that is funny? The book that you read that you said was so funny. That's a piece of serious writing. I swear. I don't know where the laughs are.
There's some serious truths in that book, but it's funny.
Well, when I would look over somebody's shoulder and say, hey, just read this and tell me what you think, I would look over their shoulder, and if they laughed, I'd say, okay, what did you laugh at? You know, you've seen people like that, haven't you? Seen people like that? They go, "Yeah, what did you laugh at?" They just wrote it, but what are you laughing at? Or when they watch their movie, "Oh, that's funny." You know, that's why I make movies, not to be famous. I make movies to see what people laugh at. When I said I got an Academy Award for Sally's Diner. I wrote Sally's Diner because somebody wanted a reel. The cinematographer wanted a reel. He said, "Write me something. I want a reel because I want to be a cinematographer." He was a camera operator. So his wife came to me, "Why don't you write something for Harry so he can have a reel, so he can be a cinematographer?" So I wrote Sally's Diner. I directed it. I wrote it, and I was the lead in it for Harry. I wanted this, and then I said, "Well, what am I getting out of this? Not to learn how to direct, not learn how to write. I want to see if I can make a character funny that I write. I want to see him walking around. I want to see what the difference is between sitting at a typewriter and looking at it, which is where the typewriter is going to go. So what you're writing is not real at all. It's for, and I want to see if I could do that, jump the gap." So I wrote it, and we got an Academy nomination. So I finally saw, oh, wow, that's what I'm doing that the audience is laughing at. Okay, so I learned something. But I didn't do it to make a film short for what Harry did. Harry made a film short to have a reel so he could get a step up. No, I didn't do that. I just needed to learn something. Now, that's good and bad. I'm not saying it's great. I'm not saying it's bad. It's to monetize something, you have to have another headspace. So that's also what I learned. Okay, I learned that, but I didn't learn that. I didn't learn what Harry learned. I learned what I learned.
So you did it for like a sociological experiment for yourself.
Well, but that's my life. My life is I always say I'm not a stand-up comedian. I'm a stand-up social anthropologist. That's what I am.
I gotta say, your book. This is not.
And that's what I thought I was writing. I mentioned.
I know it's not disparaging the writing, but it actually read like the rhythm of it, like a good comedian. Like that's why it was funny. Like you would tell these little stories, and the way it was written. I've never quite read a book like this where it was almost
the reason that the book,
like a really good monologue, like a really good.
He actually gets it. There are several people in the book business, like show business. There's a book business, and it's like show business, but it's totally different. But it's its own business. Yeah. Like money is its own business, and show business is its own business. So a lot of people have said what Greg.
Monkeys are their own business.
Monkey business is its own business. Right on. And the people in the monkey business and the show and the book business have said what Greg just said. We don't know how to position it, is what basically Greg is saying. So we love reading the book. We said there's nothing wrong with this writing, and they even said it's like you're talking to me. Yeah, it's like a stand-up. It's like a conversation.
Well, it reminded me a bit of like Shel Silverstein. Is what it reminded me of.
Yeah, and I think I got to go where Shel Silverstein goes because I've been handing it to an agent who's going for readers, and it's not for readers.
Right.
Readers want depth. There's no depth in this. These are fables that I satirize. It's like Aesop. On steroids.
But that's what I'm saying, though. There's some like real, honest human truths in this book. Even
it's Aesop. Aesop's my guy. You want to know a genius? Aesop's my genius. Yeah. That's my guy.
Well, you've got both George Carlin and you've got Paul Reiser, as people quoted in the book.
Yeah, Paul Reiser. Well, yeah, but Bob Dylan, Richie Pryor, George Carlin. Those are my guys. Lenny Bruce, my guys. Mom's Mabley, my girl.
Bill Hicks even?
Bill Hicks is a little too, he's real, but he's just a special case, man. He's but I read his book. It's hard. He doesn't fuck around. He lays down and talks. It's hard, man. That's hard.
I gotta say the middle section of the book. Oh, sorry, man.
No, go ahead, Greg.
I was going to say the Loophole Dossier, the middle part about it was one of the most like when you attack, like I'm pretty sure you were talking about Donald Trump there, but it was so
my.
not heavy-handed. It was so light-handed. Like at first I wasn't even sure. You're like talking about this insane politician. You didn't do all the obvious things like most people parody Trump do. But then eventually you were like, oh, this guy's just as inane and insane as Trump.
But different, right?
Like it was so
I had to make him a character. I couldn't make him a caricature because you can't.
Yeah.
You can't characterize a caricature. Trump, he is a caricature.
Exactly.
He will live in history. He's going to get what he wanted. It's just be careful what you wish for, Mr. Trump.
Yeah, the first 20 pages, I didn't even realize it was a Trump thing. I was just like, oh, he's just doing this political satire.
No, it had to be,
but then little things, little hints here and there. I was like, oh, yeah, he never would have written this.
See, Greg, Matt, and Brent did a little, but Matt mainly. See, that's what I'm talking about. That's what I wanted. That's what I write for, what Greg is saying. I write for that reaction. It's just me and Greg. Greg gets it. I don't care if you get it. It doesn't
Greg
matter.
has said many times he wants to be your best friend.
Well,
I think this is his way of like weaseling his way into.
Oh, okay. Well, for this broadcast, yeah, he did it.
You're his best friend, Greg, for now.
Yeah.
For now. And then it all comes crashing down.
But this is over. This too shall pass. I can't depend on Greg. I don't attach to Greg.
I know we can't depend on Greg. He was supposed to be on time today, and he wasn't. He was on a bus.
Well, but he showed up. He was pretty cool.
I made it at 5. Yeah. I was actually on time, technically.
No, but you see what I'm saying, man. So it's the next thing. It's what's next. It's like turning a page. You can't get attached.
Okay, the third part of the book, can I ask you, is that a real guy? The third part of the book, the last part of the book about your...
No, it's all me, man. It's all me. Everything.
My God, because I really thought this might be...
That's why I wrote it. Make him real. You got to be real, man.
He seems so real, that character. And I was like, did Larry know this hobo?
Barnum Justice.
Oscar?
A homeless guy. Well, no. Yes. I was homeless for a year. I lived in my home for a year. So that's where he comes from, man. Yeah. I got to put this down. This is incredible. What you learn in that.
But even the love story part really moved me, like his hobo love for this bartender. And it was like,
wow, man.
It was so real, that love. It was like...
let me ask you this, Greg. Let me ask you this. Do you buy and read books?
Yeah.
Well, you do. Hardcover books?
Comic
books, but I do read real books.
Okay, you do read real books. Okay, yeah. I don't write for people like Greg. He's not my audience. In other words, he is my audience, but there are too few of them to support my style.
Yeah.
It's a specialized audience. And the book is based on...
We've always known Greg as a special case.
Yes, that's what I'm saying. And so am I. And so am I. And so is my book, and so is what I write. But the book business is based on book readers, and they don't want this light stuff.
That romance with the bartender, that's so real that most writers and
bartendress
screenwriters won't do is yes, we all feel like
she was a real woman, man.
I know, and he was so in love with her. He wrote those beautiful poems to her that were so heartfelt. And then after a month of being with her, he's like, I gotta get out of this shit. That is so real. Movies never show that. It's love, true love is love forever. It's like,
remember the new wave, the black and white stuff? Yeah, they show that.
Most
America is weird.
Most of us fall in love and we're gaga. And we're writing poems about girls. And after too much, you're like, oh shit, what the fuck did I do? That is so real. Nobody writes about that shit. It's always just love. Hooray. Love wins.
Maybe if that's what they think, no, I think everybody thinks like that.
I know, but they never show it in fiction. It's always this.
Oh, yeah. They call positioning. It's the genre of movies. It's called positioning. They say, we love your writing, Larry, but we don't know how to position it. In other words, what they're saying is, we don't know who would read this. We like it, but it's like politicians. They say one thing to get elected because they got a mortgage, but then they say a different thing to the people, the vox populi, and they're two masters. And, servant of two masters is no servants
Everyone
at
wants a
all.
happy ending. Everyone wants a happy ending. That's basically.
Yeah.
And that's not going to happen today. So we should, at this point, actually get into our cooking segments to make
let's do that.
happy.
Never happy ending. Never.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's never
Let's get
happy.
into cooking, man.
Well, the good news is, although I really do again want to acknowledge Greg's efforts, there won't be any singing. Well, not much. Just you're prepared.
There's a little bit in the beginning.
There's a little bit in the
singing.
beginning.
It's not quite the same. Yeah,
No, I
it's
mean,
different.
me and Greg, we formed a bond, so I'll put up with any crap.
Yeah, this is
anything.
2.5 minutes
It's
of
fine, man.
2.5 minutes of minor
He's
torture
cool.
is what this is. So here
Yeah,
we go.
okay.
At Safe Mart, it's a Safe Mart. Come to Safe Mart and be safe.
Safe Mart is a proud sponsor of Food is for Eating with Waspy Soda Pop. Today's special, pancake soup, only 50 cents a bowl. At Safe Mart, be safe.
Food is for eating. Food is for eating. Food is for eating with Waspy Soda Pop.
Hello, Americanish. I am Vespin Arctic Kohlensäure, Waspy Soda Pop's cousin from Austria. And today, I have a very good recipe for you to try. It's an Austrian Vole schnitzel. First, you get a half a cup of all-purpose flour combined with 1 teaspoon of salt, 2 large eggs lightly beaten, 3/4 cup plain breadcrumbs, 8 boneless thin Bavarian Pine Vole cutlets, 16 cleaned pine needles, minimum 4 inches long. Do not have them shorter than that. Salt and freshly ground black pepper, and corn or safflower oil for frying. Those are your ingredients. Do not miss one, or you will be punished. Now here are your instructions. Place the Bavarian Pine Vole cutlets between 2 sheets of plastic wrap and pound them until just 1/4 inch thick with the flat side of a meat tenderizer. 1 or 2 whacks should do it. Lightly season both sides with salt and freshly ground black pepper. Take the pine needles and thread 2 vole cutlets together. Place the flour mixture, egg, and breadcrumbs in 3 separate shallow bowls. Dip the vole in the flour, the egg, and the breadcrumbs in that order, coating both sides and all edges at each stage. Be careful not to press the breadcrumbs into the meat. Gently shake off the excess crumbs. Don't let the schnitzel sit in the coating, or they will not be as crispy once fried, so fry immediately. Make sure the cooking oil is about 330 degrees Fahrenheit, as you don't want the schnitzel to sit around in the coating before frying. Use enough oil so that the schnitzel swim in it. Fry the schnitzel for about 2 to 3 minutes on both sides until a deep golden brown. Transfer briefly to a plate lined with paper towels. Serve immediately with slices of fresh lemon and parsley sprigs, or your choice of sauce. Serve with Austrian spätzle, or French fries, or Austrian potato salad, and maybe a fresh leafy green salad. There you have it. A fresh Austrian Vole schnitzel. I am Vespin Arctic Kohlensäure. Waspy Soda Pop should be returning in a week. Thank you for your time, minions! I don't think I understand anything he said.
Well, that's why me and Greg get along. Ridiculous reality. He makes reality and he takes ridiculousness and he puts them next to one another. It's great.
See, that was the funniest accent I've ever heard, man. I was laughing the whole time.
No, I mean, you're sending up narration, you're sending up advertising, you're sending up cooking shows, you're sending up. No, it's fine, man. It's great. Me and Greg are fine.
I just wish you really talked like that in real life, man.
You wish that
Well, you get on my nerves when it wasn't for broadcast. I wasn't on this. But for what it is, it's fine, man. I understand why he gets me.
Yeah, this is not a high production
So, but no wonder why you didn't want to see. It would be better for me. I'm talking about just me in particular.
Yeah.
That if he showed that commercial first, and then he sang behind his camera. I understand now. It's voice and picture, and he didn't have a picture. So
Oh, that wasn't Greg doing the talking on that.
Oh, well, but he was trying to imitate it, I guess. Well,
No, that was me doing that whole thing.
No,
okay,
it's
that's
Austrian
fine,
guy. It was Waspy Sodabot's cousin. What are you talking about?
That's right. His
Oh, yeah.
cousin, his Austrian cousin. I forgot.
No, you can't explain a laugh or art. I mean, that's what I was trying to do. You can't explain it. It's great. It was great. That's all I'm saying.
I have to go on the record again as, speaking for the sponsor, Safe Mart. Waspy's got to show up. He can't just be sending in all his crazy relatives cooking up varmints.
Well, yeah, he hasn't had so it was a Bavarian Pine Vole, Brendan, is what that was.
Well, yeah, it was a vole, but still in all, and he had the ridiculous in there, and he took ridiculous and he smashed it against reality.
I'm just saying, I get the calls from Safe Mart. You guys don't.
Well, because of that, we have potential legal issues, so we should move on to the legal segment of the show. Brendan, okay. I hope Brendan has questions from the audience for Greg, because this is Greg's part of the show here.
He has an opinion, may not always be right. He's a real fake lawyer. He's old and he's white. Ask him a question, 'cause he's a good egg for bogus advice. Ask Greg. Ask Greg? Ask Greg!
We take questions. As a matter of fact, Larry, if you have a legal question you want to ask Greg, he will accept your question as well, but we'll also take any questions that Brendan may have gotten from our studio or our lack of studio
And I'm stroking
audience.
my beard, so I'm ready for Sage.
Okay, Greg, can you fix a parking ticket?
Well, if you come to my court, yeah, I will.
Your court?
Cool, man.
Yeah, whatever court I'm working in. I mean, I can't do it from here, but
Okay.
yeah.
Yeah. Anybody else have a question?
Yes, Brendan, what you got?
Let me take a look here.
Do we have somebody who's not from Florida this time around?
I have fixed a glory hole situation for Matt once. I have done that.
Put a cork in it?
Yeah. No, you were that time you got in trouble at that bar, remember? And
sure. Yeah.
But you want me to filter out all my southern... Okay, fine.
No, I'm just wondering if you have somebody who's not in Florida. They could be Southern.
Okay.
Yeah.
They could be Floridian. Who cares?
Well, it's just we've had many Floridians recently.
It could be Flo Rida even. Flo Rida.
No.
What is this? Does he have a question?
Does Flo Rida have a legal question for Greg?
I'm sure he does. All right, here we go.
Are you wearing apple bottom jeans, Greg?
This is coming in from Apple Valley, Wisconsin.
Okay.
Which is close to Lake Wobegon, I'm sure, or something, wherever's up there. But anyway, dear Greg, my name is Sven, and I've been out farming here in Apple Valley for very long, and I am a tired old man. I sometimes get lonely at night with the sheep, and I've been told that there is an age of consent. Is there any advice that you can give to me about what I believe to be my consensual relationship with my animals here in Apple Valley? Love and kisses, Sven.
Stay away from the lamb.
Stay away from the lamb.
Mutton.
That's the only.
Mutton
that's
is-
the only advice you have, Greg.
Well, that's fine. It's age of consent is if they're lamb, you keep your dick out of it.
But
Don't put your dick in it.
Where does the lamb ram threshold? I mean, when does a lamb become, or maybe,
Or is
who knows
Black
how
Betty
the-
involved?
Who knows how the sheep identifies? I mean, at what point in the sheep's life is it consenting to all this?
Well, do you think if maybe it's a precocious lamb who's experienced beyond her years?
He's talking about
possibly?
sheep, Greg, not lambs, though.
Yeah, but aren't
You keep
lambs
bringing
baby
lambs into it.
Isn't a lamb a baby sheep?
It is, yes.
It is.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we're talking about age of consent. So we're talking about
Okay.
I'm
young
following.
lamb.
Don't listen to him. I got it.
We're talking about young lambs and old
Right.
lambs.
I'm just
So
saying, where does a lamb, I mean, is it 13, 14? I mean,
I'm not a
in lamb
biologist.
years.
I'm just a lawyer, Brendan. I'm
Okay.
just a simple lawyer.
So you should consult
Simple.
maybe the farm bureau in his local area?
Yeah, go to the
Poor Richard's
FFA.
Almanac, maybe.
Yeah, just any local farmer organization say, when does a lamb become, a full grown? And you're
Sheep.
fine. As long as
Full-grown
it's not a
sheep.
lamb.
Say it.
Yeah, lamb becomes
Yeah,
a sheep.
say it.
Exactly. That's the word I'm looking for.
Yeah, be
or mutton.
proud.
mutton.
Don't be ashamed of your sheepy
ways. Yes.
Yeah, I think because I don't even know though in Wisconsin, is that where we were? Right?
Yes,
Yeah,
Wisconsin.
Happy Valley.
Should I
Apple
talk like
Valley.
Garrison Keillor? Would that help? Not that I could.
I think
Well,
you're right.
you look a
I
little
think it
like
was
him, but
Apple Valley.
I don't know that it would help. Yeah.
Yeah, if you went to Seed, if you became a bum.
Anyway, I'm dashing this off to Finn. He kind of put a urgent in my inbox here, so let me.
Yeah,
let me
I'm
get
saying,
off him.
yeah, it's like it might just be illegal in your state to even fuck any kind of sheep, no matter what age. There might be no age of consent.
Well, when I filtered out all of the southern stuff, this was as close as I got.
It's all my fault.
It's definitely worse if it's a lamb. So keep away from the lamb. Stick to the mutton.
All right, good to know. Thank you for that useful legal advice, Greg. Again, everybody out there, Greg is not a lawyer, so that's fake legal advice.
See, Larry, this is my improv skills.
We are fake
The
lawyers.
committee wouldn't have had me. The committee would have been like, get the fuck out
But
of
we do
here.
have a client we have to address. We have not addressed our client for today, so we need to move right into that. Our client for today is Sitcoms on Trial. So I
It
think
was the Loopholes Dossier was our client.
Sitcoms on Trial. Essentially, what we do is we'll discuss the certain sitcoms and say whether or not they deserve the accolades they have gotten. Now, I came all across a list from Rolling Stone where they had like the top 10 sitcoms of all time, and I have a slight disagreement with number one, which is The Simpsons, but only for this reason, not because I think it's bad or anything, but mainly because it's not live action, and I think it's kind of comparing apples to oranges or Granny Smith apples to Red Delicious.
Stupid.
What's
That's
stupid, Greg?
idiotic. Who
Why is
gives
it
a shit?
idiotic?
It's a sitcom. It's a sitcom.
Yeah,
Who
but
cares if
it
it's
has
drawn?
it goes by different rules.
But who
right?
can't, no,
You
dumb rules,
can
just
do
like
in a
Fruits and
cartoon
Nuts.
what you can't do in a regular sitcom.
Yeah, but you sitcom, no, I Dream of Jeannie
But
did
like,
shit.
but-
Jeannie did magic and stuff and
But
special
do
effects.
you mean like an anvil drops on the guy and smashes him and then he walks away? Like that kind of?
Yeah. Like the laws of physics do no longer apply when you're dealing
What
with
about I
cartoons.
Dream of Jeannie then? Is I Dream
What
of
about
Jeannie?
I Dream? Well, I think the laws of physics still applied in I Dream of Jeannie.
No, they didn't. It was
All right,
magic.
well, all of
She'd
it?
go like this, and
Yeah.
then something would appear. No
You wish.
science.
Something would appear.
Yeah, whatever.
Yeah, but it wasn't
elephant.
all right, so that's the cartoon part of it then.
That's what I mean.
But it's still live action though. So it's
Who
again
cares,
they're
though?
getting I care. I
It's
care,
a
Greg.
sitcom. The format is situation comedy. It doesn't
Yes.
say non-animated.
I think you're too much of a fan of The Simpsons to see this
No,
clearly.
any cartoon show. The Critic, it's bad cartoon. Family Guy, I'm not a big fan of, but yeah, it's a sitcom.
No, I think it's because of your and also your love of like comic books and cartoony things. That's what makes you overly biased about this.
It's called a situation comedy.
I know what it's called.
Doesn't matter
Greg.
if it's drawn or if it's live action.
I know what sitcom stands for.
Can we agree to disagree, gentlemen?
I have a different take. I have a slightly different take on this because when I was listening to Matt talk about this, you know what's interesting about, in my opinion, animated comedies, sitcoms, what they can get away with beyond physics, that it doesn't seem like if real people were doing this, they could, is how politically incorrect they can be. Family Guy has an excellent idea. Can you imagine if you took pull any Family Guy episode out and you made those people real and they sang and danced and did kind of what they were doing, even if, man, that show would be canceled in a second.
Yeah.
But because it's a cartoon, it gets a pass. Well, that's what I thought was interesting about what you were saying. Like they're on two different spectrums, but I think that's what cartoons get away with, not necessarily the laws of physics.
Well, it's both, and that's one additional example. Not like I've written a thesis about this or anything.
You've admitted that you've barely seen The Simpsons. They rarely fuck with the laws of physics. The Simpsons is pretty much just like a sitcom. It's drawn. I mean,
How many people have died? How many people have died in that show, Greg, and come back to life?
No, not. I don't remember any.
Has it like the main with the dad homeless? What's his name? Homer.
Homeless.
All right.
Hasn't he died numerous times and like come back to life?
No,
or
he's
like
never died.
nuclear energy has like affected him in some way and he never got cancer?
No, I don't remember that episode.
No? Okay, well that's what happens for me not watching the show, I guess.
Yeah, I was going to say, like, I really think you just sort of shot yourself in the foot when you were like calling Homer homeless. Like,
yeah. Why don't you
can't
call him
really have an
Sometimes
opinion
Jones
about
about
something
Yeah,
you've never
Sometimes
watched.
Jones, the father of The Simpsons.
Well, Larry has been in numerous of the many sitcoms that we're talking about. So
Two of the most successful sitcoms of all time, Friends and Seinfeld.
Did you
What
make
a
it into Cheers, Larry? Would you ever get into Cheers and like a bit part or anything?
No.
Okay. Well,
you started out with the best 10 list. You got as far as the first.
Right.
And all of a sudden, now what happened?
So I'm going to read the top 10. I'll read the top 10, and we'll just address
and
them.
then go on. Okay, but I got to know.
So number 1, Simpsons. Bullshit. Number 2, Cheers. 3, Seinfeld. 4 is I Love Lucy. 5 is All in the Family. 6 is MASH. 7 is The Mary Tyler Moore Show. 8 is Honeymooners. 9 is Parks and Recreation. And 10 is The Larry Sanders Show. So that's the top 10. I'm surprised they've got Parks and Recreation up that high.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, it's because of that guy, that comedian. Who's not
Ron Swanson?
The Pakistani guy.
Oh, Aziz Ansari?
Yeah.
I
think cool. Parks and Rec is really on that list, shooting way above the show itself.
Well, I mean, I really enjoyed the show, but I don't know that I would put it in like the top 10 of all time.
Time?
I mean, I like Larry Sanders show, and I'd probably say I like Larry Sanders more than Parks and Rec. Because it was much more satire-y, and Parks and Rec kind of took the concept of the documentary style from The Office for their. Although they had some really funny people on that show. I mean, they had Amy Poehler in it.
But I'd like to point out The Office wasn't on that list.
Not the top 10, no.
Parks and Rec beat The Office. The Parks and Rec was just it was just a duplication of The Office with a different set of very talented people and a concept.
Well, but Parks and Rec did have Lil Sebastian. So there's that.
I think Ron Swanson is the funniest thing on that show. Larry, did you ever meet Gary Shandling? Did you ever work with him?
Gary Shandling?
Yeah.
No, I met him, but I never worked with him, no.
Yeah. I heard he's an
Did you stand up with him or like on an open mic night or something?
No, I think maybe, I passed his table at a restaurant and was introduced to him. But mainly, I was in the same room with in the green room or something. But no, he's mainly a very dour person. He's funny. He's very acerbic, but he doesn't say much. He's just very taciturn. He just you don't know what he's thinking. And then he'll say something which is really funny. So
he had like that really dry sense of humor. So I appreciated that. But I thought Rip Torn was like the shining light.
Oh God,
the Larry Sanders show.
Did you ever meet Rip Torn, Larry? That guy seems like a character.
No, but he's always on. Again, he's like Larry said, he's either on or off. I was in the same place with him, and I saw him do his thing about with the confetti and the horn.
No, not Rip Taylor. We're talking about Rip Torn.
Oh, Rip Torn. Rip Taylor. I'm thinking Rip Taylor. Rip Torn. Rip Torn is a great actor. He was great. Rip Torn was great.
I did the same thing, Larry. They were saying Rip Torn, and I was like, was he on the Gary Shandling?
Yeah, I was just wondering, what the hell?
No, I didn't think so.
That would have made the show completely different with him as the producer.
So was Rip Taylor, would he just shut down and you'd meet him at a cafe and it'd just be like, hello, I'm Rip Taylor?
Yeah.
He would be like that. He seemed
totally. There's a lot of people in show business like that. They're boom and then they're nothing. And I think it's because they just are sick and tired of the hoopla. Yeah. They just can't take it anymore. And I don't care who's around or who loves me, I've had enough. And you just go into like I'm alone in my living room type of thinking.
What stage of your career was it when you had the most attention from people you didn't want attention from?
Right now.
At this very moment.
Right at this very moment.
And that's it.
I've never had this much attention. It's amazing. And I hope I can get, I'll take a shower after I do the show. No, I mean, it's not good. It's not good because I either wondered why they laughed, like on the stage of the committee. Well, what's the big deal? I don't understand it, and then finding out and then going, yeah, it's not that big a deal, or finding out that, oh, you're laughing at that? I just do that. I just say that because he said that. In other words, I don't act, I react. That's what acting is, reacting. You don't go around acting all day. You go around reacting all day. Mm-hmm. You don't talk like this when you get out of bed, do you? It takes you the whole day to get here.
That's the hardest improv.
So I don't understand it because I'm on the reacting thing, and I think that's where people go when you had enough. Like Lucille Ball. She just, I think when she's famous enough so that she doesn't, Paul McCartney, he's very calm in the midst of chaos of his fame. He becomes really calm because he can't get there. You guys, I've been Paul McCartney all my life, and you people are tripping out because you see me for 5 seconds. What you were seeing is my image. I mean, that's what all famous people do. They know themselves, and no matter how Trump thinks how glorious he himself is, I am sure the adulation when he comes off that stage after a speech just goes, wow, those people are nuts, man. I don't understand that at all. And he's on the stage speaking and they're going, yeah. What the
lock her up.
I think his ego is too big to say, I don't understand it at all. I think his ego is
No. Well, here's his not understanding it is they didn't give me enough.
Oh, yeah.
There wasn't a big enough crowd. Well, why were there empty seats way in the back? So it's the same thing. In other words, his mind is not where the crowd is. His mind is either ahead of them or behind them. There are not enough people here, or the people who are here, crowded and packed as it is, I need more. But he's not where the crowd is,
When you were on those big shows, when you were on Seinfeld and you were on Friends,
the big show,
you had these recurring parts. Did you want
recurring nightmares
to be? Did you want more familiarity from the audience? For money or for fame?
I've never, I said to say, man, I've never worked or even thought about money, ever. Yeah. I mean, that's the last, I have to pay my rent. That's when I think of money. I got to pay my rent this month. Not I got to pay my rent for a year. I got to pay my rent this month. That's as far as I take money. But what I want is to do the best job that I can in this situation. Whether it's improvising because I can't memorize the script, I got to come off smelling like roses. To me, I did it. I did it good. I nailed it. I was in the zone. That's what I'm going for.
The best advice you could possibly give somebody in your industry is
do it as if you were fired, if you're not going to get the job. Because if you're doing it to keep the job, no, man, Greg Leonidas, the diver, Greg Leonidas, Louganis, Greg Louganis. He dove to make the best dive that he could. No splash. That's what he was going for. No splash. He wasn't going for a 10. He wasn't going for a 10. He was going to win with no splash. That's what I'm going for. No
I can only belly flop now.
Okay, well,
I couldn't dive.
You got something to learn. You got your life ahead of you.
You have to go for the biggest splash, Greg. That's what you want is
the biggest splash. Okay. As long as it's for you, man.
Right.
All right. We'll do the next 10. We'll do the next 10 sitcoms now. We're moving along because we still have the client, Greg. All right. So number 11, The Dick Van Dyke Show. Number 12, Curb Your Enthusiasm. Number 13, Frasier. Number 14, Andy Griffith Show. Number 15, Arrested Development. 16, The Cosby Show. 17, Taxi. 18, 30 Rock. 19 is Roseanne. And number 20 is Bojack Horseman, another cartoon.
I gotta say, animated. So I gotta say though, this is very skewed towards classic shit. Where like Curb Your Enthusiasm, I'm sorry, I grew up watching I Love Lucy. It was very well done in its time, but the modern sitcoms like Curb Your Enthusiasm, Louis C.K. show, Louis, they're so much better than that. They're so 20 steps above what those guys were doing.
Yeah.
Telling corny jokes. You like Curb Your Enthusiasm like gets to real human shit. Like, oh my God, we've all felt like this, like real stuff. And like I Love Lucy was just like, Lucy, you crazy lady. You know what I mean? It was like, yeah, it was great at the time. But I gotta say, like, Curb Your Enthusiasm is so far above I Love Lucy or MASH.
I think it's because you relate to Larry David because you do the things he does in the show.
No, I was very George Costanza. Everyone said that. They'd be like, oh my God, you're just like George Costanza, like eating eclairs out of garbages. And, you know, like I was just, I didn't.
I think it was a banana. Wasn't it a banana?
No, it was an eclair right on top of the garbage. Somebody
Yeah.
it. But it's right on top of the garbage.
Yeah,
Who
right.
cares?
Right. I just did it today.
Yeah, and you ate shrimp out of people's pockets, you know, like, you know. Food's food.
Yeah,
Food's food. Who gives a shit? You know, it's like, it's good food.
Right. Good food.
Pocket food.
Well, I was watching the other day vis-a-vis this conversation was the original Batman.
Emergency. Batman speaking. Warning.
Yeah. So I'm watching a scene with the Joker and the Penguin and Batman and Robin. So all of them are, high camp, blazing colored costumes, and the Joker was not Jack Nicholson at all. I mean, it was, white face with a red, with clown makeup thick, about an inch thick, and high anxiety. So I'm watching that and I'm saying, these guys, the two actors who was the Penguin and the Joker, they were in later years, they became very famous actors who did really heavy dramatic work.
Burgess Meredith, right, was the Penguin.
Burgess Meredith, man.
That's the Riddler. Who's Cesar Romero?
Cesar Romero. Right. But I'm watching them now, and now it was like I think 3 days ago that I watched this. Yeah. So I'm watching it now, and I see Burgess Meredith and Cesar Romero from the 60s, before they were really, really as big and dramatic as they are now. And I'm thinking, these guys became hugely famous, and therefore I know, and they didn't know then, how great they are going to be from these caricatures that are doing it. I'm watching them saying, no, but they understand the job of the actor. They're doing their job, and they're doing it great. And they're not, they're burlesque. They're high camp, and they're doing it. They're not being real and giving it all and da-da-da. No, they're being totally superficial. And
they're making fools of themselves.
Fucking well, man.
They're making fools of themselves because that's what the job.
But that's the job.
Yeah.
And so therefore they're not fools. They're class, man. And they're doing it. And I think, they know the job. That's why they get the big bucks. They're working actors, man. And they know when they auditioned, or they were probably given the job, hey, Burgess, you want to do the Penguin? Are you kidding? That's a great character. When somebody said to me, hey, you're going to audition to do Kramer, I freaked just like that. Holy cow, man, I'm going to do Kramer? What a challenge, man. I didn't think about the money or the fame or who cares. I just wanted to do it for Kramer. I wanted to do it to impress Michael Richards and Larry David, because they hired the right guy, because I knew I could do it and I wanted to do it. That's the only time where I really had a burning desire to do the job.
Getting rid of all my furniture, all of it. I am building levels with steps, completely carpeted. Like ancient Egypt.
I don't know how you're going to be comfortable like that.
Oh, I'll be comfortable.
I said, wait a minute, I can do the job now. I had enough background of doing all these small jobs and blah, 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 and you get paid and I got an expensive apartment. But no, this guy, now I can apply. Let's see what I've learned, Larry. That was a challenge, man, because when I did that job, every time I did it, because there was no audience, they shot for 2 days because it was and they couldn't, bring audiences in and out. It's too disconcerting. So the no audience, we shot for 2 days. And every time it was my scene, suits would come down from upstairs, from the production office, never on the set before, not in rehearsals, not in the shooting. Came down the shooting, and they would just stand on the side with their arms folded across their chest, and they would watch, 4 of them. Every time I was on the set, as soon as my scene was over, they left. They went back upstairs. And finally, one day, and sometimes during rehearsal, but during the shooting of the show for the 2 days, they were there. I asked them, who are these people? Why are they always there? And then they go and they walk away. I mean, it was bugging me. No expression, nothing. Not a yay, not a nay, just they would watch. I said, what is going on? Why is that being done? They said, they're from the publicity department of the production company of CBS or ABC. And they wanted to know that Larry Hankin, that actor downstairs who was hired, wasn't fucking with the money character. Kramer was, on T-shirts and shit, right? Yeah. And people watched for Kramer. So that the Kramer character, and they wanted to see that I wasn't fucking it up. That's why they were there. So that was their job. But if I did my job, they would just leave. See, if I try to, if I didn't do my job, if I didn't know, like those guys knew Penguin and the Joker back in the day. See, I had enough chops that I could not only do my job well, to nail Kramer, to get it right as best I could. Also doing their job. They're making sure.
About that sequence in Seinfeld is that you could totally nail Kramer, but then in real life, like when you were not acting as Kramer, you were kind of like this. You were kind of a jerk. You're like this obstinate, pain in the ass guy. So it was like you do this.
Is that a jerk? That to you was a jerk?
It's not a joke.
Pain in the
It's
ass?
like great acting.
I was a pain in the ass. You bet.
You were your character. You were like all like giving Kramer shit and like Kramer's just like, this guy's.
Oh, I see what you're saying. You mean that?
So, yeah.
No, Kramer was giving that to me, man. He said, no, I'm Kramer. No, I'm Kramer. No, he was giving me shit. I was just an actor, Tom Pepper.
You mean in real life, he was actually like threatened by the fact that you were doing?
No, he suggested me for the job. We knew each other for years.
I'm saying the role though, it was like 2 roles. You had to imitate Larry Kramer.
Yes.
Michael Kramer as Kramer, but
Tom Pepper gave people shit. I see.
As a
what
real person, you had to be like this different character.
So that's why I love that. No, that's the part was a genius part, man. That's where you.
And most sitcoms.
So maybe Larry when he's dead. Maybe he'll be a genius.
Most sitcoms wouldn't have had like kind of an unlikable character. Like you were kind of a jerky.
Yeah, but no, I mean, you're right, but where you're placing the camera is wrong. I do that all the time. I hang around the camera, not as an actor. I'm just as a curious guy who get a chance to stand next to the camera and see how they're shooting this. And the person I want to question the most is the director. And I would say, like, to John Huston, I would say, why are you putting the camera here? And they would either they would send me up, like say, I don't know, I guess I'll get fired, which is some directors would say to me. And others would say, well, because I'd say, well, I pictured it over here, so why did you do that? He'd say, well, because, and they would tell me, because of the emotion of the shot or the scene, this captures it better than putting it over there. So I would always hang around the cut. So, but I was doing my job as Kramer, as Tom Pepper, and as the Tom Pepper doing the job of an actor and imitating Kramer. But I never brought there was nothing personal about it. I was inventing a Tom Pepper character who gave shit to people. because he was an actor being put on. So I was playing a frustrated actor. That was my character of Tom Pepper. And Tom Pepper his character of Kramer, Tom Pepper noticed that Kramer's character didn't take shit from anybody. So I was playing Tom Pepper, playing Kramer, not taking shit from the real Kramer who was saying, no, I'm Kramer. So I had to give him shit because I was playing Kramer.
That's like method acting.
No, I'm Kramer.
Method acting.
But that was Tom Pepper playing him, not Larry Hankin. No, we were friends.
Yeah. No, I got that.
Michael and me.
But that's what I was saying. It was brilliant acting. I knew you didn't have any.
But I see brilliant acting. I thank you for it, and it really means
it was good. I mean, I love that. I think that was like so.
It's just,
no sitcoms do shit like that. Not many sitcoms in the late '80s had like these unlikable characters who were just like, "Shut the fuck up." You know what I mean? You were a real character. It was.
Well, that's my job. That's my job, but I'm leaving that now.
Well, apparently Greg's job is to be a sycophant, is what Greg's job is.
No, well, no. I mean, I really understand, but he's the only fan. He's speaking like a fan, and he's the only fan I could talk to. I've never talked to a fan. So I'm asking him. I understand what you see because that was what the audience saw when I came up the stage of the committee. I always wondered, and it dawned on me, and you're saying it, and I go, oh, I see where you're at. But that is not in my head at all when I do my job. I don't think about what you're thinking that I'm thinking.
But you know what's funny is that 2 years ago, I didn't even know your name. I knew you were. Until we interviewed the first time, I was like, oh, Larry Hankin, who's that? And I was like, oh, that guy.
My job is not to get you to know my name.
I know, but I knew you were. I recognized you instantly. I was like, that guy, fuck. I've seen him on episodes of SWAT, probably, or whatever. Forever.
Exciting and new.
Yeah, so I mean, I'm leaving acting now. I'm becoming a writer.
Greg is coming.
Were you ever in Love Boat, Larry? Were you ever in Love Boat?
No, I couldn't. There's certain things I didn't audition for.
You know, Greg, you can look up what he's done on IMDb, and that should give you a good clue as to what he's been on or not.
I could, but that
as opposed to
17 hours.
So just peppering him with questions. Were you on this? Did you know this guy? Did you know this guy?
Larry's been in like 8,000 things. I don't have the time to research.
Apparently, you don't have the time to realize that that's a big waste of time, just listing out things that he might have been.
Yeah, I mean, I don't get it. I get it, but I don't get it.
Were you ever in my left shoe?
Matt, I read his book, which you didn't fucking do.
That's because I knew that you would read the whole thing by now, but I would have read it if I hadn't given it to you.
Yeah, but you didn't.
Well, I didn't get a chance to get it. I would have read it if you'd given it to me, but I was drunk, so I didn't take it. But Greg did, so I just missed out.
I had hoped while we were all drinking at that place that you would have read some of it while we were sitting there, which is why I brought the book with me. So everyone could have a piece of it.
While we're drunk at a karaoke bar, we're going to read Larry Hankin's book.
That's why I brought it. That's one of the reasons I brought it, was so there could be an opportunity for all of us to get a taste. So everyone could have gotten a taste of Larry Hankin at least.
Brendan would have read the book. You know why? Brendan reads books, Matt. You don't read books. So Brendan, would have read it too. You don't read books.
We want to read books.
You don't read books. You told me you hate movies with subtitles.
I have these 3 books right next to me, Greg.
And you've never read them.
About? I haven't opened them at all.
What are they?
But that's what
I don't know.
They're David McCullough, Great Achievements in History. And it's
David McCullough. Who's David? Oh, David McCullough, the actor, right?
The Wright brothers. No, he's a historical fiction writer. The Wright brothers, The Great Bridge, and The Path Between the Seas, which is a story about the Panama Canal.
Yeah,
I bought these because one of our guests we had about a year ago, he was doing a musical based upon one of those books. So I thought I'd pick them up. And
is that Bruce Valanche?
No, it's David Randy Edelman. Bruce
Valanche was doing a historical piece on the early 1800s.
The Panama Canal. I don't think it was. It wasn't a musical.
Hey, listen, it's 6. It's 6. I gotta leave. I got an appointment. I thought this was going to be an hour.
It was,
but
and we went an hour and a half.
Sorry.
Okay,
it's okay. Greg was trying to yank as much time out of you as possible that he could get.
Well, I think he succeeded. We'll never have this conversation again, Greg.
Call me up.
Okay.
I'll give you my number.
No, it's fine. You've got enough information. The rest is on Wikipedia.
You don't need to know any more. Larry. Thank you very much for being here. This is Larry Hankin, everybody.
Thanks, Larry.
Bye.
Get his book, The Loophole Dossier. Loopholes Dossier.
It's on Amazon.
It's on Amazon.
No
You get
matter
it
what
for
the
Kindle.
cover is. There we go. There it is. Okay. I'm out of here, guys.
Bye.
Rock on.
Thank you so much, Larry.
Wait,
All right.
Well, wait a minute. There you go.
Yeah, he hasn't left yet. He's still there in the corner.
Leaving.
That's
Leaving
him
me?
in the corner. That's him no longer in the
You can
spotlight.
check out any time you like, but you can never leave.
Well, this is a perfect opportunity for Brendan's opportunity to take over.
Oh,
So
no.
here we go.
This is The Last Word with Brendan Haggerty.
So sitcoms on trial. We went through the top 20. We dealt with them cursorily. But what do you got to say, Brendan? You have the last word.
I want Brendan to give us his top 10 sitcoms.
Well, okay. Well, my last word on this subject is this. Sitcoms have been an important part of, I think, everybody's growing up. And I think a lot of sitcoms, started as one thing and became another. I think a lot of sitcoms are funny for different reasons. And it's really hard to pick a top 10. But one thing that I'm pretty confident of is that Bojack Horseman should not be anywhere in the top 50.
No, that's terrible.
Sitcoms
I agree.
ever. I don't know what stoned out millennial was making this list, who felt it needed to be peppered with things like I Love Lucy for no real logical reason, just because of nostalgia, or they thought it would be more clickable or on the Rolling Stone thing. I don't know. But it's really shocking that Bojack Horseman, a horribly animated, depressing show, which is barely funny. It has a few existential moments, barely funny, should beat out all kinds of things like Good Times, The Jeffersons. I can't even begin to think
Sanford and Son.
All the African American sitcoms.
I was trying to think of something that was outside
They're all
of
good.
that. But Kids in the Hall, I guess that was a variety show. I don't know. There's so many other shows that I can think of that should have beat Bojack Horseman. So here's to you, Bojack Horseman. Go fuck yourself.
I know that's the last word, but can I just echo that I had so many friends who I trust their opinion told me, Greg, you gotta watch Bojack Horseman. And I watched 10 minutes and I was like, this is shit. This is like all the jokes were just like bad. Like, I gotta say, millennial humor, just like snide comments. Like it wasn't even funny. It was like
it was kind
like
of
a bad
depressing.
meme or something.
Yeah,
bad memes.
I had the same thing. I had a lot of younger people that I know that said, "Oh, you're gonna love BoJack Horseman. You should watch it. You should watch it. You should watch it." And I watched I did more than I watched an episode, which was like drinking ouzo. I just kind of like, okay.
I'll do it.
Right, and then I was like, okay, maybe that was just a shitty episode. I'll watch the next one. I watched the next one, like, that was a little better, but it's still just a pile of garbage. Like, it's a horse, and then he's dating a graphic designer, and then she's... I mean, it was just, like... it was terrible.
If I had one good joke in that first 10 minutes, I might have stuck around. I didn't hear one good joke.
I didn't either.
I didn't give that show any time ever.
Because it's animated, yes.
Well, no, I've given shows chances. Like I watched probably about 5 episodes of Family Guy, and I think like one episode of like Futurama. What's that, Greg?
Simpsons, though, you've watched barely any, right?
I think I've watched about 3 episodes or something.
You never watched Rick and Morty?
No, I've never watched Rick and Morty. It's supposed to be like a science fiction type cartoon, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Is it? That's science fiction. I didn't know that.
Oh, if you guys haven't seen Rick and Morty, my God, you should watch Rick and Morty. That is one that younger people recommended to me, and I was like, yeah. You also said BoJack Horseman was good, and I watched it. I'm like, no, this is actually pretty fucking good.
I remember Sanchez Eldorado was on saying that he loved Rick and Morty, and he's older than all three of us put together.
Everyone loves that show. That's like, it's a big show. But I gotta say, I did love I never saw Rick and Morty, but the viral meme thing they did where they animated a real court case in California, I believe, where a judge lost his shit on some asshole plaintiff. Do you know what I'm talking about, Brendan? It went viral.
Is this on the show, or is this something else you're talking about?
No, it was like a different thing. It was like they did this weird video just for the internet. It went viral.
This is for the show Rick and Morty, though.
Yeah, I think so.
It's the guy who made Rick and Morty. It has nothing to do with Rick and Morty, but he animated very loosely and crudely this real transcript. Somebody recorded this judge dealing with this plaintiff who was just like, "Fuck you, Your Honor." And the judge finally lost his shit. It was just like, he was calling him fuck man. He kept saying, "Whatever, fuck man." It's hilarious. It's amazing. I think, Brendan, you know what I'm talking about, Brendan, right?
I do.
Yeah.
I remember it now.
It's really funny. And
but this has nothing to do with what we're talking about, though.
Well, no, it doesn't. The guy from Rick and Morty animated it and made
one of the creators of the show was responsible for creating this content.
Yeah. So are you basically talking about a guy who's part of the show doing something else?
Yes.
But it's funny. I'm just saying, I've never seen Rick and Morty, but apparently these guys know what funny is because they do this.
They know
didn't
what
write
funny
it.
is.
They just found this transcript from a court. It was actually recorded.
Anyway, you guys, if you haven't watched it, watch an episode of Rick and Morty. I think you'll enjoy it. If you don't, then you can just tell me I'm just being a Bojack Horseman. Whatever. But
somebody recommended Bojack Horseman to me too, and I think I gave it about a minute, and I'm like, this is a guy with a horse's head. I'm like, what the hell am I watching this?
No, he is a horse.
Oh, he's an actual horse who stands upright.
He's a horse. He's a celebrity horse.
And this is one of my issues with calling it, comparing it to like live action sitcoms, Greg. So.
Oh, so Mr. Ed is in a sitcom, according to you. A talking horse doesn't count.
He's not a cartoon horse.
Oh, but he's a talking horse, which doesn't exist. It's fantastic.
Well, that could come under the heading of like a delusion based upon the guy talking to him.
You know, in The Simpsons, the dog
I know
never
The Simpsons.
Talked. The dog never talked. It's more reality-based, very reality-based cartoon.
It's reality-based.
They don't fly.
This is a kid who's been a kid for over 20 years.
Why are we back to this?
Because Greg is harassing me about it.
Oh.
Well, because you're being stupid about it.
Why is it stupid, Greg?
Because it's just like if sitcoms could have kept Urkel at a certain age forever, they would have. They just couldn't because
they couldn't. They couldn't.
Or Chip Douglas.
Yes, they couldn't.
Any show that goes beyond 5 or 6 years has probably gone into Stupidville anyway.
Yeah, that's true.
I mean, Rick and Morty, the first 2 seasons are fantastic. 3, 4, and 5, I don't
well,
have you seen all 500 seasons of The Simpsons, Brendan?
No, I haven't.
Okay.
The first 11 are gold, though. I will.
But I can watch any episode of The Simpsons and be lightly entertained. I'm not like rolling out of my chair, but it's not bad TV. You're just
That's a good question we should talk about. Is there any sitcom that has gotten any of us rolling out of our chairs? Like full belly laughs that have come out from any particular sitcom?
The Simpsons.
Okay.
If that counts as a sitcom.
It counts for you, Greg.
I have to say that I have had some significant belly laugh, like crying eyes from Family Guy.
Okay.
Arrested Development and The Office are also ones that have definitely got me.
Yeah.
I've
had laughs. Well, you know what? I'm not as much of a fan of the English version as I am of the American version. I've seen both. And I don't know. There's something about Ricky Gervais. He's not the same as Steve Carell. And I think Carell really makes The Office more entertaining than Gervais did. Gervais, I think, is just...
The English version with Gervais is bullshit. I don't care what any hipster fuck wants to say.
Hipster right here. Excuse me.
It's bullshit.
Steve Carell.
I fucking
and,
love the English Office.
No, Steve Carell and the cast of the
No, they're
American
great. I
version.
love the American Office too, but I love that nasty humor. That's why I love Curb Your Enthusiasm. It makes
Yeah,
you
I
feel
wasn't a fan.
comfortable.
I wasn't a big fan of Curb Your
Oh, I
Enthusiasm.
love that,
watched it a few times. I could appreciate like good comedy writing, and Larry is fantastic, but it was so cringy and awkward.
I love that. See,
I don't
we're
like
just different people. Yeah.
Yeah, no, I don't like cringe.
I
comedy.
love that for some reason. I don't understand because it's not comfortable. It's not happy. It's not fun to be like, ugh, don't do that. Oh my God.
I can take it in small amounts, but like a classic example is that movie with Ben Stiller, Meet the Fockers, I think.
Yeah.
That's the third one, I think.
Oh, well, whatever the first one
It's the
is.
second one.
First one was Meet the Parents.
Meet the Parents, whatever.
Yeah.
That whole series is just 100% cringe.
You're like,
humor.
oh, don't do that. Don't. Oh.
And it just it triggers me a little bit. If it goes on too long, like that's all that we're doing in the show, then I'm like, no, it's like watching, if you're not into scary movies, it's like too many jump scares and whatever. And you're
Oh,
just like,
yeah.
no.
That's
Cringe.
a perfect analogy. You're right. It's like, yeah, it's like,
I just
it's
don't-
like, what, you don't want to watch something that makes you feel uncomfortable. But I do. I have this weird thing where I love the English Office. I love Curb Your Enthusiasm, but the most awkward moments, I'm like, oh, this doesn't feel, it's not satisfying, like comfort TV. But I'm like, oh, I love this.
No, I have another friend back in Florida who is way into cringe comedy. They love it. Like,
yeah,
if you list off all the shows that are like kind of cringy like that, they're like, these are my favorites.
And even the films, I've like loved films that like I never want to watch again. Like, you know, French, Swedish art films that are like, this is the most disgusting human behavior. This is horrible. I feel terrible when I leave the theater, but I'm like, that was a great movie. I never want to watch it again. I want to recommend it to people, but I want to say it's not a good time, but it's a great fucking film. I love that kind of real dark shit.
Yeah, I can do
speaks
that
about
with
my
dark shit.
character.
I can do it with dark shit like Green Mile. I don't recommend people
Green
watch
Mile's
that
not
more.
that dark.
That's pretty awful. Schindler's List is pretty awful. I mean, it's a great movie, but it's so much of a downer that it's like, it's so emotionally exhausting by the end. You're like, I don't want to watch that again.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, that's Sitcoms on Trial, everybody.
We did it. We
end with Schindler's List.
This is one of our. I'd like to say we really.
I had the last word.
You would like to say it, Greg, but you never just say things. Just say it.
I'd like to say, in theory, that we did the Klein pretty well today compared to other times.
I mean, we the benefit is that this time we had somebody as a guest who was immersed in the client.
Yes.
You know, and could give definitely a different take on things.
Yeah, that's maybe why.
Yeah.
So
we want to say very much. I want to say thank you to Larry Hankin for coming on the show again for the second time. And so everybody go out and buy his book, The Loopholes Dossier. Again, you can find that on Amazon. And it's interesting. If you like Shel Silverstein, it's for people who like Shel Silverstein. You should go check that out. Yeah, I don't put any links in the thing because the links are never live on YouTube for some reason. I don't know why. But you know, people can figure it out if they want to.
I think he's better than Shel Silverstein, and I'm not.
Next week. Speaking of movies, you probably don't want to watch more than once. We'll have somebody who was who had the role of Junior in the original version of The Last House on the Left from back in the early '70s. A guy named Mark Scheffler, and he also. What's that? It's one of those very disturbing movies.
I was a teenager, yeah.
Yeah.
I loved
so
it.
he was in that one, The Last House on the Left. He's going to be with us, and he also was a stand-up comic for many, many years. Came up at the same time as like Robin Williams, and so he was like in that group of comedians in that era. So he has many stories, and he'll be with us next week. And actually, in the middle of October, we'll have somebody else from the movie The Last House on the Left, Jeremy Rain Dreyfus. She was also the ex-wife of Richard Dreyfuss, so she'll be on somewhere around mid-October. So
she was a victim. Unless has them left.
I think she
Like
was
most
the
women were.
mother. I think she was the one of the ones who killed the bad guys.
Okay.
I think she was. I don't remember. I have to look it up. But anyway, so next week, Mark Scheffler, and then Jeremy Ray Dreyfuss later on in the week, and then nobody else is scheduled at the moment to get some more people in. So that was Sitcoms on Trial. I want to thank Larry Hankin once again. Yeah, you're going to jail, Simpsons, and Bojack Horseman, and Family Guy.
No.
And all
Bojack
of the
Horseman.
cartoons that pretend that they're sitcoms.
Bojack Horseman, yes. The other two, no.
Your consultation with the Law Offices of Quibble, Squabble, and Bicker has ended. You may pay your retainer at www.qsblaw.org. Please exit to the right of the water cooler and grab a candy from the front desk. We hope to see you again soon, but you need to leave now. I said leave. Why don't they ever listen? Get out! Get out!